So I was a little spoiled in my Tennessee office location by the amount of space that I had. I could really stretch out and have multiple projects going at the same time without disturbing my daily projects that I had to do, like shipping and listing and things like that. Major tasks had their own station. Things were laid out best for efficiency. But that's not really so much of an option here. So luckily, before I moved into that office, operated out of a spare bedroom in my last house. So I'm not a stranger to working in a smaller space. I know despite individual trading cards being really small, when you're dealing in bulk of them, they can definitely start to absorb your space really quickly. So I'm going to share with how I'm dealing with the issue of processing large amounts of bulk in a smaller space. I know it's already intimidating to process a large bulk collection like this one that I've been working on. And if you have a small space, it's even more daunting, at least at first glance. Without the luxury of the space to leave out work in progress projects, because every space like this desk has to be used for multiple different purposes like shipping or finances or marketing or everything else. It's necessary to be able to work on something that's smaller in scope and either complete it before you have to do anything else or put it away somewhere so that it's not in the way keeping you from doing those anything else's. Before, I would take a collection like this one and blast through each step in my bulk processing system for the entire collection. If you don't know about my bulk processing system, I'll leave a card up here for you to click on that video, but wait till after you finish this one to go look at that. So I would go through each step in that system all at once over the entire collection. But in a small space like this, like I said, that's not really a luxury that I have. There's not room to queue up boxes of partially processed cards. So I can't take, the entire collection and condition sort it and set all the lower condition ones over here on this side of the room and all the near mint ones over here on this side of the room and have stacks built up that is not in the way of all the other things I've got to do. Instead of that, I'm taking it a small chunk at a time. Here, I'm working on a single 4-row box, which I should be able to complete in a single day around my other business, household, and dad duties. This can actually be beneficial to the business just in general, right? Where the more spread out version of this process is a bit more efficient for each step along the way because you can, you're in that process, you're doing that step. It's a lot easier to list 1,000 cards from a single set all at once than it is 100 10 times. Similarly, it's a lot easier to sort a whole 4-row box that's all near mint cards and have a good chunk of cards ready to go for maximum efficiency on listing than it is to do it in smaller chunks. However, that is a lot of work to have to do in order to get to the point where you're actually listing cards and actually selling cards because they're listed. Going through 150,000 cards for condition and then going through 150,000 cards for set sorting and then alphabetizing each of those sets before you list a single card, it's just a big pile of work that's in progress and has to be stored somewhere, has to be kept organized so that when you stop it and go do something else and come back to it, you can pick right back up on it. So even for me, that's a lot of work. So it actually helps to treat the process more leanly and begin listing cards more quickly. So instead of doing it for the entire collection, pick a box like this, go through the box, process the entire box through each step without stopping and going on to another thing. You should be able to complete that pretty quickly so that instead of a couple of weeks from now starting to have cards listed, you get cards listed today or tomorrow. Even if they're not all the best cards or all the right, all whatever, you can get them out faster. And that in turn lets you step up your other work both more quickly and at a slower, more manageable rate. Also, if for some reason you have to slow down and stop processing for a bit, you aren't in the middle of a project that's really large in scope that is still not yet generating any revenue. It's actually still in the way of performing your other duties too. So if you have a big scope project and you have to stop it's still out on your desk. Where do you put it? Right? You don't have another space you can put it in. Take the smaller piece, go through each step in the process. So if it's all the same game, you don't have to broad category sort it. So you can do a condition category sort like I did here, then sort it, alphabetize it within the sets, then list it, and then you just have to go and integrate it. When maintaining a smaller inventory, it's usually more beneficial to keep the sets in alphabetical order, as I am here right now. I've got A's have spilled over into a third box, and then it's Battle Royale and Betrayers and Born of the Gods and so on and so on, Commander sets and all this. A few sets I've got a large quantity of so far, 4th edition. I say large, it's 500 cards. There's almost 1,000 revised, those kinds of things. But yeah, all the way up to Zendikar Rising, and then I've got a teensy bit of Pokemon, a little bit of Flesh and Blood, and I found a couple of packs of Lorcana the other day to try it out. But yeah, it's definitely beneficial at smaller inventory sizes that you can lay all out in front of you at once to do alphabetically organized. Once you get beyond that, it's usually best to sort your sets in order of what the most repeated, most time consuming task would be, which usually is going to be pulling cards for orders, especially if you're in direct. So I recommend you take your pull sheet and reorganize them in order that the pull sheet displays them to you at that point, because then you aren't having to put boxes back and then pull other boxes out and then switch back to the boxes you already put away and this and that, over and over and over again. You want to just work through the inventory in one go. Definitely recommend you do that. But right now, until I get past this third box, which shouldn't be too much longer, I've got them organized this way because I can just lay it all out, pull all the cards out in one go, and not have to worry about it. As someone who's had over 100,000 cards of Flesh and Blood cards in inventory stacked up in boxes on the floor at my last small space location because I didn't have a place to put them on shelves at the time, I can't stress enough to you just how important it is to have a place to put your things so that you have proper organization once you start to get more and more inventory. You can definitely get away with the floor stack method for a little while, but once you start getting enough boxes that you can't spread them all out on a single table, really inefficient, and it becomes stressful on both the boxes and the cards in the boxes to keep picking them up and moving them around and stacking them on top of each other. Just bad things can happen. Again, once your inventory has grown past a couple of boxes, I highly recommend you pick up some of these kind of shelves. If they don't have to be these shelves, but I get something that you can put your boxes on. Don't settle on them. Don't cheap out on them. Don't get something that just kind of works, but not really. You need to get something that's going to work for you for a while. Get something that is adapted for your business specifically, and that you can add more to later if you need to, without it being strange or some kind of workaround and completely different kinds of shelves and things like that. That's why I recommend these boltless shelves like this, because they are adjustable. You can get them anywhere. You can get them lots of places. They're marketed mostly as garage shelves, so that's the kind you're looking for, the boltless ones that are garage shelves. They're really strong, way stronger than you need for cards. You can't put enough cards on one of these shelves without the cards falling off of it to break the shelf. They're really easy to put together yourself. They just come apart and go back together. But once they're together, they're really sturdy. It's really cleverly designed. They're usually quite a bit cheaper online too than if you go to like a hardware store and buy them. I put a link to some from Walmart in the description below. You don't have to use those, obviously. It's just pretty convenient so you can see exactly what you're looking for in an online listing. Those ones are the same dimensions as the ones I'm using here. I like this size because they're 36 inches across. You can put two 4-row boxes next to each other and still have a little room on the end for some supplies. Makes it pretty easy. Those Walmart ones are also about the best price I could find right now online. Once you've got them, together and got your boxes on here, I don't recommend writing on the boxes because invariably what's in the box is going to change at some point. So I've just got these note cards, as standard note cards. Just slip it in there in the lid, and that's your label, right? So TCGplayer box 1, 2, 3. We've got WooCommerce inventory and eBay inventory here. Buy sports cards is down here. So, and you can fill this whole thing up with boxes eventually. I'm going to, and then when I need to, I can get another set of shelves to go over here, and we'll rearrange the office a little bit more. Or maybe by that time I'll be in another location with a little more space. But that's how I'm keeping sane in my small space as I'm processing all this bulk. If you have any other tips or questions or anything like that, let me know. And if it would help you to see the older video about my bulk processing system from the last location, then check out this video right up here, or this one on this side should be something else that's pretty interesting for you.